Well, hello everyone. Hello later everyone. There is a massive Comcast blackout going on right now, so this will have to be an adventure by Memorex. And if you're old enough to get that reference, good for you, because most of my players are not.
Really? What? The CDs?
No. It goes beyond CDs. It's the tapes. It started with tapes, yeah. Anyway, so if you are watching this, you will be watching this in the future, and we are playing in the past, and so hopefully you guys will stick with us. And I am so very sorry, but I'm going to blame it on Comcast. So this is Glassbreakers Guild. This is our weekly D&D game. These are my friends. Welcome. Oh, and some of them are a little blurry, so I'm going to have to adjust some cameras as we go.
Okay, that's sort of our MO, right?
Yeah, we're always a little blurry here. Sorry about that. So we are here to play D&D and pick up with our ongoing adventures. If you're watching this, clearly you are watching this on either YouTube or the Twitch archives.
If not,
Good. If
hey,
not,
hello, psychic.
if not, how the heck are you watching this? But good for you guys. Welcome to the YouTube channel.
The FBI would like to
So I will. I would normally put up the link to the YouTube channel, but clearly, if you're watching this, you're already there. So good on you.
Casual Cactus.
Just do a search for Casual Cactus. It's casual with a C, cactus with a K, and you will find that. If you are on the YouTube channel, you do also see that there are archives of every adventure we've had, including some one-shots and some additional content that we haven't, that doesn't tie into the campaign directly. I will also give us a little plug for our Discord server. It's our happy little dungeon. I would normally put a link up to that as well, but you guys are not going to see the chat anyway, so I'm not going to bother. But our Discord server is the place where you can get information about all the goings on here on this channel, as well as the channels for Kyrie, who is not with us this evening, and Danny, and any of the other streamers that we have associated with us here. All of that information is fairly common knowledge, fairly standard announcements, and so I will not waste any more time with that, and we will jump right into our recap. Who would like to recap last week's session?
I wasn't there.
I have to flip a coin now. And by that I mean roll a die. Okay, Lance.
All right. So last time we were taken prisoner by Yuan Ti hunters, and they bound our hands and blindfolded us and led us through the city to their, I think, did we learn it was like a temple or a fane or something?
I don't know.
I remember the word fane being thrown around. But they led us back to their headquarters in Omu, and we were thrown in these really, really nasty pit dungeon things
I thought it was okay.
filled with all manner of bodily fluids and water.
Water was the nicest.
And then we were led to their leader, so we assumed. We got her name, didn't we?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Her leader, the leader of the Yuan Ti Kuhani.
No, she's a priestess, isn't she?
Yeah, she's like the head priestess.
Yeah.
Because technically, Nisi, bless you, is the leader.
So after speaking with Kuhani, she offered us an alternative to death, and instead we could help her kill Rasnisi. And then we agreed we'd be willing to do so, and we had 3 different groups that had to complete a task to prove our loyalty. Brayden, Eliash, he had to feed a body to a hydra, and fell in the water and almost died.
Yeah. That would have been bad.
And then myself as Gideon and Sploof and Meyer had to help a sentient snake reorganize the supply room.
Like you do.
And then Clara had to bathe Yuan Ti in blood. There were Yuan Ti in pools of blood, and Clara had to bathe them and sort of massage them. And then after that,
Yeah, it was not a fun time. Who knows what you did?
we all were brought back to Kuhani, and she offered us and sort of gave us a few more details about attacking Rasnisi. And Gideon convinced Kuhani that we might have some friends who are already working with Rasnisi, and that if we could find them and talk with them, Kuhani could keep her involvement in his assassination secret, and if we die, we can lose everything.
We die.
Or
Yeah. Or we could go with her Yuan Ti and go kill Rasnisi. Or the third option, someone could get turned into a Yuan Ti and take us to meet Rasnisi.
permanently. Which we found out only one person in this party can do it.
Wait, is that character knowledge or player knowledge?
No, that's
Wait, why did we find out?
it's player knowledge at
All
this
player
point.
knowledge.
It's
The
player
DM
knowledge
told
at
us
this
as
point.
Players, only a human can be turned into a Yuan Ti.
And that would mean
That'd be a nope.
Yeah, it's before you guys got here.
And we saw Claudius, a red wizard with whom we are familiar, about to be sacrificed on an altar.
Yes, we saved him.
And we convinced Kuhani to give him the opportunity to join us. And we asked for a nice, like a safe place to rest, and Kuhani gave us access to the harem room.
Which I feel like she was not supposed to do.
And one of the Yuan Ti seemed particularly interested in us, and came and spoke with Clara while Clara was washing off in the fountain that's in this room. And Clara sort of recognized this Yuan Ti and invited her to come over to our little booth and talk with us. And I believe we ended last time with her, the Yuan Ti, turning back into a doppelganger?
We did. We did indeed.
Timber, to let us know.
No,
And I think she dropped the
dropped the form and straight up let you guys know it was a doppelganger. So
Did miss that.
yeah.
She asked about Claudius. the
Well, you can
doppelganger.
edit that later.
Well, I mean, no,
No,
Okay.
no, you did it.
We'll leave it in. It's fine.
Doppelganger at the very beginning.
We did.
Yes.
Mr. Sylvain.
Yeah, so
Mr. Sylvain.
Not Mr. Sylvain, it was Mr. Sylvain's.
it was Sylvain.
Yeah,
Her
Mr. Doppelganger.
So we have seen one before. We don't know if it's the same one. I'd be pissed if it was,
All,
because that
all
means they got here
all
faster.
doppelgangers look the same.
I mean, they
That's
sort of
racist.
probably do actually.
They might.
Okay. All right. So, just give me a second here.
Hello.
So I'm going to back up for just a second for Nyx.
Okay.
So you haven't seen Sunshine since they pulled the bag over your head.
Gonna ask about that.
You did hear them sort of. It sounded as if Sunshine's legs were being tied up, and perhaps maybe strapped to some sort of contrivance to carry him along with you guys. But once you got to where you are, you have not seen your spider. You don't know where he is.
Great. Since he's my animal companion,
Mhm.
can I sense him? Is that how that is?
That's not how that works. Sorry. But you have
Here's the sheet. Learn what you can do.
so ouch.
Oh.
Read your
Ouch.
spells.
See your spells.
So you have been with you've been with the party up until, through everything that transpired last time. Your particular task that you were given to do to prove your worth took you into this little area of the map. Past the snakes, so there's a snake pit there with a
No, I don't know what this room is.
yeah, with a rickety walkway that that takes you above the pit. Just lots and lots of snakes writhing on the floor down below you. You pass the doorway that's got this sort of sharp tang of blood on the air. You do see Elias and the two guards that he's with sort of coming back the other direction, and you hear Clara's footsteps behind you with her guards. And the guards that are with you lead you into this area. This area here. Sort of right here. These catacombs have been turned into nests for the Yuan Ti. They're sleeping quarters basically for the Yuan Ti when they're not performing duties in the temple or out, roaming about the city, things like that. They're here resting, sleeping. There are about a dozen or so Yuan Ti, half a dozen purebloods, half a dozen Malazans of various different types, sort of lounging and sleeping. And you've been told that your job for however long it takes is to start essentially cleaning out these nests and making them nice for your captors.
Sounds gross.
It kind of is. There's snake skins all over the place, things that have been eaten and passed through the system. Some of them look like they've been, regurgitated, and some of them look like they came out the other direction. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Not real big on hygiene.
Not so much, or not as most humanoids would count hygienic. Yeah.
Was I there when we were talking to Kuhani?
Yes.
Okay, I would have asked about sunshine there.
Okay. She would have told you that your pet was being kept safe.
Okay. That'll work, I guess.
For the time being, it will have to. So for the next hour or so, you're sort of they let you look around, kind of get a sense of what you're up against, and for the next 3 or 4 hours, you're going to be there, mucking things out, cleaning things up.
Cleaning the snake stables.
Cleaning the snake stables, yes. You are warned not to pass through the door that lies beyond. Don't go that direction for reasons. You're not given those reasons, but don't go that direction. Otherwise, they set you to work. What you gonna do? Anything?
I mean, are there like personal belongings in these stall things?
I mean,
Or just
not really. You get a sense it's more of a communal area, so anything like of a personal nature, they're going to keep with them. So when you see stuff like that, it's always in an occupied space.
okay. And are there people around me, or am I by myself? Or
So the two guards are at the passageway out, and then there are a dozen or so resting Yuan Ti.
okay. just clean, and if there's any conversation, try
Okay.
to listen in and see if I can find
Make
anything.
me a perception check.
Five.
5. Okay. I mean, there is whispered conversation, but you are unable to discern what it is that they're saying.
Gotcha.
You don't want to appear too obvious that you're eavesdropping, and the whispers were coming from about halfway down the hallway there, so you didn't want to appear too anxious to know what was going on.
Just keep it.
Okay. All right. Well, about 3 or 4 hours later, your back is sore, your knees hurt. You've been on your hands and knees trying to get into the corners, and you are covered in all kinds of just unspeakably nasty stuff. And the guards come and find you and lift you to your feet and tell you that it's time to come with them. Okay. And then they lead you back to the rest of your party in the slave pens. That would be in time for the second audience with Kuhani, where she makes the offer, and before you guys are led to the harem, which is now where we pick back up for the rest of you guys. Let me reposition this. So, as you may recall, you guys had gathered in the little alcove here, and you had with you a particular. At first, it appeared to be a female, Yuan Ti pureblood, a member of the harem, and she was speaking with Clara and follows Clara back into the alcove, turns, pulls the curtain closed, and as she does, the mirage fades away and reveals the androgynous form of the doppelganger. And that is where we pick up.
Well, that was not what I expected.
That's a cool trick.
Who are you?
Yes. My name is Ishmakal.
Gesundheit.
What's up, Michael?
How'd that go around?
Okay, Mr. Ish, what you doing here?
I was sent to infiltrate the Yuan Ti and gather intelligence on Raznisi.
How goes this endeavor of yours?
Well, it would appear that I picked the wrong line of investigation, shall we say. I understood that he very often partook of the pleasures of this place. That seems to have not been the case for quite some time. Apparently, he is secreted away. There are rumors that he is ill, perhaps even dying.
I can understand the feeling.
Are you all good here? If nobody has any objections, I'm going to stand outside the curtain. I do not want listeners.
Very well.
Agreed.
I need someone to be making the appropriate noises. Step outside the curtain.
What if no one else will? Sploof will.
The appropriate noises out of a goblin are really, really terrible, just so you know. Nix, do you want to help out with this?
Scare people. But why me?
Female.
The doppelganger was originally female. In disguise.
So I think
I mean,
it
she
would be
did follow Clara in there, though.
I mean, it's a harem.
You do what you gotta do is to survive.
Nix is super awkward about it, but she'll do her best.
I will take from both of you a performance check, please.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Oh, I wish I had body persuasion. Oh.
That would be a 1.
Yep.
10.
Okay.
I can't decide
is
if I
really
like this
bad
dice or not.
Clearly, we now have found out who the 2 virgins are.
You don't get to judge my experience level based on your
So-
impressions.
I wish I could give body persuasion for this.
We have
So,
inspiration tokens.
so, Clara, standing outside the curtain, you're just standing there. You're not trying to be like,
So I'm stepping out, purposely looking really awkward,
okay,
and I'm going to make eye contact with anybody I can, and just like shake my head, eyes wide in horror.
okay. So standing out there, the sounds of Nyx are. I mean, if you had to say anything, it would definitely be that she sounds like a very enthusiastic amateur.
I'm trying so hard.
Yeah. You do start to wonder if she's ever had any experience at all, but you know,
My line of work.
exactly. Sploof is faking, obviously.
How do you know that I'm faking? I
Well,
mean, maybe it's just a terrible performance.
it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's bad. It's like,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
stomp my foot like a dog that's getting scratched behind the ear.
I mean, it's.
Sounds. Yeah,
And
it's bad.
the
It's
looks
real bad.
you get back from the other men and women in the harem, some of them are just like appalled and aghast, and a couple of them are like, Batiri. Make me a perception check.
Hmm? 18.
18. Okay.
The goblin
Oh.
makes sex
You
noises.
shouldn't have said it.
Nobody else was going to.
Never should the gnome.
The boy should have.
Then why get into it?
There is one concubine that's sort of lounging in almost pride of place amongst the others. There's sort of a
Pecking order.
there's a pecking order, and she's sitting at the top of it,
You found the alpha beta.
and she's sort of, well, she's glaring over that direction with undisguised contempt.
Do I have any idea what that meant? Directed specifically at me, or?
It doesn't seem to be. It seems to be more for the activity behind you.
Oh, she dead. You don't judge us.
I think,
Harem.
yeah, I think that is probably more strange because she is judging any kind of sexual activity.
She's a Yuan Ti supremacist.
Yeah, possibly. You never know.
I have a feeling we're gonna find out.
I hope we don't have to fight a harem. That would be a weird battle.
You said there were males as well?
Mm-hmm.
How many?
Not as many. So there's about a dozen or so concubines in the room. About 3 or 4 of them appear to be male. Meanwhile, sort of below the awkward sounds that you guys are making, the doppelganger, is carrying on. What do you have you perchance seen or made contact with any of my masters outside?
Who are your masters?
The Red Wizards of
We
Thay.
met one or two.
We saw one. We convinced the head priestess to allow him to join us. Whether he accepts that offer or not, we don't know yet. Last we saw him, he was on an altar about to be
Sacrifice.
Disemboweled.
and we
Ooh.
tried to talk him down.
Ooh. Oh well. Which was it? Do you know?
Claudius.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Well, what were you going to have him help you with?
The priestess offered us freedom in exchange for helping her remove Rosnisi from power.
Okay. Well, if he's dying, that would seem to be easy.
Well, and
Do
it was either that or death, so
Ah. Do you trust this Kuhani, though?
absolutely not.
Ah.
There's a deep pit in my soul for some reason.
This inexplainable feeling of
In a past life.
Do you...
Just keep having
Do-
dreams of stabbing her with utensils.
So she just offered you... She offered you your lives, basically.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And nothing else?
I mean,
Not really.
Weren't exactly in a spot to bargain.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. We either help her or we die.
All
in a
right.
quicker fashion.
Why?
I have heard some gossip from someone closely placed that Rosnisi has obtained some of the cubes that my brethren were searching for. It might be worth knowing that and worth liberating them from him.
Actually, interesting question. Did they even look in the bag?
We don't know.
Or are these separate?
Okay, actually, this is a good question. So we saw our stuff.
Right?
Was the bag of holding there?
Yeah, appeared to be.
Okay. So we don't know.
So, take a small break from my awful performance.
Mm-hmm.
Why specifically should we get the cubes away from him? Do you have a specific reason for that?
You've spoken with Claudius, yes?
Not really.
Not-
The one who spoke with Claudius is outside the room.
Not so much. We knew who he was and we saw him, but there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to talk with him.
He was being sacrificed.
Oh,
He was
okay.
chained to an altar
Yeah.
with priests around him.
Okay. So you don't know why we're here?
Nope.
No. No.
You?
Are-
No. No. No.
No!
we and Thay have been made aware of something known as the Death Curse. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
In a manner of speaking.
We believe that its source lies in a tomb here in Schult.
Interesting.
And we believe that the cubes are quite literally the keys to entering this tomb.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
me.
have- Yeah, how
How
many
many cubes?
keys, or how many cubes are there?
Well,
9?
we can, I mean, we assume, because it is the tomb of the 9 gods, that you would need 9 cubes, one for each god.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you finding these cubes?
Well, they've been scattered in shrines to the gods throughout the city.
Shrines to the gods.
Yes, the 9 trickster gods of Schult.
Interesting.
I'm gonna message. Oh, we done messed up. We stole from the gods.
We stole from trickster gods.
Past
It's an
Torres
accomplishment.
says.
We're fine.
How many do we have?
4?
Okay, hold on.
You already
From-
have them.
From the one in the water, the one with the monkeys.
Yeah.
We nabbed one from what's his
One with the
okay.
unicorn and one from
Yeah.
Claudius.
Yeah, so we have 4. We had 4,
Yeah.
but now
You
they're
just
gone.
gave up
So
4.
we got about
Oh,
half.
and the red wizard, if they have one.
Right.
And
We
then
have at least one.
The other,
Kuhani told us Nisi has.
well, no, she didn't. He didn't say it.
She said something about it.
Yeah.
She told us he has some of them at least.
Right.
I just don't know if she gave us a number.
So there's 4 unaccounted for, although we know
I don't
that
think she did,
Rasnisi
no.
may have more.
Right.
So we're missing. So 4 is unaccounted for.
How many of these keys? I mean, how many of them do you know where they are?
I don't know how many I don't know how many that my brethren have been able to acquire. I've been here for some time.
And your brethren, so are you one of the red wizards yourself?
Sadly, no, I do not have those talents. I have other talents that they find useful.
So you just sort of work for them.
Yes.
How long have the red wizards have they been in Omu?
It's hard to say. I have somewhat lost track of time. We would have arrived on, and he gives you a date, or it gives you a date that you know would have been about 2 to 2.5 months back. If you've been able to keep track of time correctly.
So
I find
how close to the start of the death curse would that have been?
What-
that would have been a month before.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, so clearly I've miscalculated.
So just to
With,
say
yeah,
it's been
within it would have been within like 2 or 3 days of the death curse starting.
42. It's been 42 days since the death curse.
So it would have been about 40 days back.
How did they get here so fast? Oh, that's right.
How
I
do
forget whether wizards have other skills.
what is your order's interest in the cause of the death curse?
I mean, who wouldn't be interested in power of that magnitude?
That's fair.
They're necromancers.
Yeah. Yes, I know that.
So while I'm outside,
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to gauge politics. So we've got the top of the pecking order, but I want to know
Where's the bottom?
where's the bottom, and are there fights that have happened recently? I want to get a feel for what's going on.
Roll me an insight check.
So, 16.
16? Okay. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's not hard to judge, but it seems almost too simple. There is whoever the top concubine is, and then there's everybody else. All the rest of the men and women seem to defer to her, and seem to go out of their way to be polite and be accommodating and to stay out of her way when she moves. So there's this little circle of space that sort of follows her around. But they don't want to be too far away in case she demands something.
Oh, I think they kind of all are.
Maybe she's his maid.
This
Favorite.
Are you going to ask any questions, or are you just observing?
Yeah, ask her.
Is there a way that I can go over to there and keep the curtain that we are behind, that the rest of the group is behind in sight?
Well, yeah, I mean, the room is not that large.
Okay. Then yeah, probably I would go and try to make it. So I'm gonna walk away, like, sort of
Mm-hmm.
awkwardly walk away from that room as
Yes.
make it pretty clear that I'm uncomfortable with what's
Yes,
happening.
Bluefields, no.
No! No! And then, yes, keep going, keep going. No!
Okay.
And let's see. So I'm actually probably gonna head for the head of the pecking order then.
Okay.
This cannot possibly go bad.
Of course not.
Oh,
It's
yes,
okay, she's
classic
like
music
that.
canon.
And as you approach, she sort of looks you up and down, and even though she doesn't like literally turn her nose up at you, you get the clear sense that she's looking at what she considers to be her inferior.
That's fair. I mean, I'm a different race, and the Yuan Ti are not particularly known for their accommodations to other races. So.
Right.
Your statement.
There's not anywhere particularly shielded from noises here, is there?
Why would there be?
Do you? Never mind.
Some would find that titillating.
Some might. Do you?
Good night.
Depends on my mood and the melodious nature of the act, and that is not melodious.
No!
Not even a little bit. You seem to be something of a. What is the word I want? You seem to be sort of in charge here. Is that the case?
As in charge as I can be, given our station here.
Posted on that.
I see. I had to leave. I couldn't. So then it is perhaps to you that I turn. Is there anything specifically that I can do? Perhaps you seem perturbed that we have come into your space. We're not trying to bother you, of course. But
Outsiders are not usually permitted in these rooms.
That makes sense to me.
I'm so sorry.
Is there perhaps something we could do to make this transition, as temporary as it may be, more accommodating to you?
Just stay in your own little corner.
Oi, oi, oi.
And you might tell your Baturi to give up the act.
Whatever act that is, I do not want to know. I might simply stay outside the curtain a little while longer. As unpleasant as that is to hear, it is more so to see.
I fell off.
A word of warning, and take it as you will. If anyone enters from outside and you are seen, it will not go well for you or your friends.
And who should we be wary of entering?
And at that, she just sort of puts you out of her mind and begins actively ignoring you.
I thank you for your time.
Make me a perception check, please.
Don't sit, please.
I'm not done with you.
20. Unnatural.
Unnatural 20. Behind her, I will draw your attention to this little alcove here. There is an arcane rune scribed into a raised disc of stone in that alcove.
Anything that would be familiar?
You would have to roll an arcana check.
That can only go well.
1.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I might actually be negative then.
0.
Don't remember my...
Then the question becomes, do you know that you know nothing?
Nope, just the one.
Then it is a pretty carving on a raised disc of stone.
Okay. And she is in front of it directly?
Yeah, so she's sort of lounging on the pillows there in that area.
Duly noted. And I will go back and stand in front of the curtain and grimace.
Okay.
No one else felt
Rest of you guys, anything else?
Maybe each of us next to draw a picture.
Don't.
Wait, take one for the team.
I'll do what I can.
No, I can't think of anything else I would want to ask the doppelganger.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much got everything we need.
We should probably get some sleep.
Yes.
So they weren't really able to tell us anything super helpful regarding
Not really.
some.
You weren't paying attention. You were.
Yeah, you
You were busy.
You were busy.
Well, I mean, that conversation was different, but
Yes.
as far as the
doppelganger.
doppelganger conversation, I'm trying to.
I think there were some
Yeah,
useful
okay.
pieces of information in there.
Shall we get some rest then?
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll wrap up their performance.
Right.
So when it seems appropriate and when I can't hear them talking actively anymore, I will bang on the wall and say, if you don't stop, I will have to kill all of you. And then I will walk in.
You want to finish?
Could you have said that more awkwardly?
I mean, more awkwardly considering...
She's trying to put an act of being faithful to her husband.
An act of what?
I mean, to be fair,
You can
to be
take
fair,
first
as
watch
far
then.
as we know, she's only said she'd have a husband. But
I believe her.
For what reason would I lie?
Exactly.
Compensation?
For what?
No,
none of us hitting on you.
It's just to keep us away.
Anyway,
It would be a worthwhile endeavor for that too. But no.
Hey.
I think we should sleep, but I don't think that we should. I've been informed that we need to be seen. I was told that we are not supposed to be in here. If we're seen here, Kuhani's accommodation might find us dead.
Well, we should keep the curtain closed then.
Indeed.
Might still be getting infectious.
Oh, yes. You were not told of. You were not told of Sikalak, were you?
Seek a lot of what?
Yeah.
Sikalak is Raznisi's bodyguard. He tempts fate himself by occasionally, shall we say,
Taking a forbidden fruit.
Dallying.
yes, dallying with Nima.
And Nima's the.
She is our head prostitute.
Yes, you've met her?
Briefly.
And you still have all of your digits? I am impressed.
Ooh.
I would like to see anyone try to take my digits. They are firmly attached. And I am attached to them, so.
You do remember you're not wearing armor, right? Okay.
Yeah. That's a good bluff.
So, would you do us a favor and perhaps keep up your disguise and help us to keep watch? Let us know if we need to become scarce. Help us to take watch.
So the form nods its head, and as its head comes up, the body of the female pureblood that you recognized from before reappears.
If there's anything that you would want to pass on to Claudius, if he accepts Kuhani's offer and joins us, if you would like to help keep your cover, we can pass it on to him.
I will think on that. I do not know that there is anything right now, but I will think on that.
What's your name, by the way?
Ishk. Sorry.
Mr. Ish.
Or did you say it earlier?
I said it earlier.
It was Ish.
Ishmakal.
And in good form.
Oh, Selena.
I like it.
I go to bed.
I'll take first watch.
And they opens the curtain, steps out, and closes it behind her.
Who here speaks Dwarven?
The dwarves.
Right, the dwarves. And you're the other person who
Yeah.
speaks Dwarven.
I speak, I think, all of the languages that all of you speak.
So, because I think we've determined the Yuan Ti probably don't speak
Speak
Dwarven.
under.
What do you speak under?
Because I had lots of languages to take. And I had covered all the bases on the other ones already, so.
Okay, so first watch.
I'll go with you.
All right. So you guys will be listening through the curtain because you don't want to be obvious.
And if we can leave the curtain open like just a teeny tiny bit, just so you guys can like
Peek through everyone.
peek through without really disturbing anything.
Okay.
Just to keep watch.
So each of you can make your perception checks.
Yeah, +5.
You'll have to do them separately because both of you cannot look through the crack at the same time.
Depends on how big the crack is.
We don't want it to be that big.
18.
18?
18.
Okay.
Interesting comment when you were in
Okay.
the harem.
So at various points through the night, through the watch, each of you will take moments to peer out through the crack, out of the darkness, and into the main room. You will see that the rest of the concubines sort of, are still in. You get a sense that they're just sort of, it's a life of ease, and so there's not a lot for them to do. They sort of hold court with Nima, who you assume Nima is when Clara sort of describes that individual to you. They come and go out of each of the alcoves. Every so often they'll go down the hallway towards the portcullis that has closed you guys in here, and we'll come back with food that has been passed over by the guards, to be distributed amongst all of the members of the harem.
Cool.
But not a lot happens on first watch for you guys to worry about. The doppelganger does stop by a couple of times just to let you guys know that there's not a lot going on, that Nima is sort of in her typical lorded over everyone kind of mood, and that the guards are at their ease but alert, and they're not expecting anything massive to go down apparently. So that's first watch. Second watch. Okay.
Hi.
Hello again. Boy.
That's
14.
better. 13.
14 and 13.
No, it wasn't a 1, but it was still definitely lower single digits.
Okay.
Good, because if you both had messed it up, I was going to say, new rule. You two can't be on watch together.
That's still fair.
One time.
All right. So you guys sort of the same thing. After Elias and Nyx give you their report, you oh yeah, Meyer. Sorry, you're Elias. You're Meyer. So after Meyer and Nyx give you their report, you guys sort of start doing the same thing, taking turns. Every few minutes or so, peering through the curtain out of the darkness and into the room. About halfway through the watch, the lights out in the main room dim, so they go through and they illuminate or extinguish one of the torches and starts to throw a little bit of gloom across the room. The harem seems to sort of start bedding down, about half of them in one of the alcoves, half of them in the other. Doesn't seem to be any sort of rhyme or reason, except that the ones that are directly across from you guys seem maybe a little bit more relieved that they don't have to be with Nima in her alcove. But beyond that, it looks like it's sort of bedding down time even for these members of the Yuan Ti. Okay. Third watch. All right.
Twelve.
15. Okay. As you guys come on watch, it is fairly dark, fairly quiet. You can get the sense that it's whatever passes for night here in the temple. Sploof and Elias have told you that there's a little bit of a split amongst the rest of the concubines, that half of them are in one area, half of them are in the other, and that it's been fairly quiet. About 2 hours into the watch, all of the concubines, except Nima, come sort of stumbling blearily out of that sleeping area. Nima is still there, or she hasn't appeared, I should say, and the half of the harem that was with her seems to be just sort of milling about. They seem to be trying to find places where they can, hunker down, sprawl out, just find some place to be comfortable. And there's a sound from that alcove. a sort of almost electrical discharge followed by the sound of reality itself ripping and repairing itself. And then there comes the sounds of of what you would expect. Yes.
They obviously weren't doing it right.
I was gonna say, it's too bad neither of those two are awake to get a proper lesson.
Frankly, I don't think they need a proper lesson. I think they're probably just fine. No, I didn't mean that they were good. I meant that they are not needing lessons. I think we let things happen as they happen. So, can I get an angle where I can see the other curtains? Because there's curtains in each alcove, yes?
Looking over that direction, yes, you can sort of see. You can see the curtains over there, and they're not drawn. They're actually they're standing open.
Okay.
And you see Nima thoroughly entwined with a very muscular, burly Yuan Ti Malazan.
Is that the one with the snake arms? Or is it the snake?
Or no, I'm sorry. He is a pureblood.
Okay.
So he's a pureblood.
You know if Rasnisi's a Yuan-Ti?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kuhani told us that Rasnisi is now a Yuan Ti. He was originally in a what was it in a past life? He was a human.
But he probably had the same thing happen with. Which probably means he died.
So did Clara mention anything to us about that symbol she saw?
Probably not. Where she didn't know what it was.
It was a
Although
pretty.
She might be able to make a connection now with the flash of light.
Sure. Make me. Just make me. Make another Arcana check.
And that'll go well.
Actually.
+0.
So it's nat 20.
Nice.
Nice. Good
I rolled
job.
you a 1 and a 20.
Oh.
The show jogged your memory.
Oh wait. Could that possibly have been a teleportation circle?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
No, we
Oh,
haven't
boy.
seen any of these before throughout our travels. In here specifically.
Make me an intelligence check. Just a straight intelligence roll.
What?
20.
+0.
+0. All right, give me a moment here. So, you saw one in the slave pens. And I think that's probably the only one that you've seen. Yep, that's the only one you've seen, is the slave pens.
Well, probably didn't come from the slave pens.
So I would at that point relay things because it suddenly makes a difference. So I believe that there are, or at least 2 teleportation circles within this. She called it the Fane. Now you've seen one in the pits, and there is one in the far room. With the what did I say earlier? The head honcho board.
Oh.
So if that's Rasnisi's bodyguard.
I would assume that Rasnisi does not know of this, and I believe that could be to our advantage.
For sure.
However, at least currently, I don't think he would probably be wise to, as they say, catch anyone with their pins down.
Sorry, and now I just got the image of from the movie Odysseus where they get stabbed
Yep.
together.
Yeah. So in Dwarven, I'm not sure. It's entirely possible we might want to throw in our lot with Ross Nisi.
Do you think so?
Well, we're sort of stuck right now because the people in charge of Omu know we're here. They know we're looking for the cubes. Depending on which one seems more powerful or more easy to deal with or manipulate might determine whether or not we side with Kuhani or Rosnisi. I still think we should try and meet up with anyone else in the city we might know, see what they've figured out, because at the moment I don't, we don't have a whole lot of leads to go on.
I think we need more information.
And if we can draw out our usefulness for whoever we throw in with, we'll probably survive for longer.
Survive for longer, but that is not your goal here. This is not our goal.
No, but everyone here is looking to stop the curse. Kohani has implied that Rosnisi is also dying.
So I don't know why they're so at odds if one of them is pushing towards...
Well, it sounds like the Red Wizards wanted to control it. They want to harness the power. And being an order of necromancers, I mean, that is not completely surprising. Kuhani, it sounds like, wants to find it to stop it. But she's a Yuan Ti, so I imagine that stabbing people in the back is second nature, and she doesn't like the idea of Rosnisi being in charge and her not. I assume Rosnisi's the same way. I think they all have different reasons for wanting it, other than just to stop it.
I would think that if Rosnisi is suffering from the death curse in the same way that Kuhani is, they would work together. But perhaps this is not...
They have been, but I think they will work together about as well as we're going to work with Kuhani.
That's fair. And perhaps in the most literal sense, I think we need to play ends against the metal. I just don't know how to get to Rosnisi's end without, how do they say, showing our cards.
We'll have to take one of these players out of the picture at some point, just to make sure we stay in the game. But I don't really have a problem with that. I don't really like any of them.
That is fair.
We've got evil necromancer Snake Man, evil snake person who threw us in pits full of disgusting things. I'm not really rooting for anyone in this game.
That's fair. Additionally, I did not have a chance to speak with you all, but it is my belief that Kuhani seeks a crown of some sort, a black crown, to bring back a spirit.
Well, that's probably not good.
No. One that is perhaps world-ending specifically.
That is specifically not good.
Yeah. I think that if Rosnisi's plan is simply to end the death curse, at least it is not to destroy the world. Although I believe he is trying to destroy, what is this continent? Jolt. But, I mean, orders of magnitude, you have the world and you have Jolt.
I'm not going to be heartbroken if we lose Jolt.
Yeah, I don't think anyone but Joltons will be particularly dismayed by
This place is
Jolt's
terrible.
In the sea.
Well, we're still here.
It needs to be to do with
Say
California.
that's right.
The thing I'm the most worried about right now is if Kuhani is actually capable of taking on Rosnisi and his supporters.
It appears to me that a good portion of the populace is upset with Rosnisi, and would throw in their lot with Kuhani, who claims to have had visions from whatever god.
But we saw an undead army enter the city. I would
But we don't
assume
know
they're under
who's-
control of Rosnisi.
Are you sure it is not your sorcerer friend?
He might be controlling some of them, but I don't think he's able to control that many just yet. Maybe, but I also would have expected more I would have expected him to meet more resistance if he was marching his own army into the city.
Indeed, unless he has allied himself with one of the powers that be here.
Right. And if it was anyone, I would guess it was Rosnisi, since he met the undead outside the city.
I see.
Now, what are we going to do if Claudius decides to join us?
Probably not attack him as soon as we see him.
Yep. I'm on board with that plan.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Cold.
History does not seem to bear out that you are sure.
I was sure then, and I'm sure now.
I too am sure. Alright, yes, I believe that he would be a valuable ally, at least.
How long do we trust him?
We trust him exactly as much as I'm sure he will trust us.
Do we want to try and get him out of here and out of our way as soon as possible, or do we want to use him for as long as it's useful?
I think that he has much to perhaps help us with.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I just don't know if we want to keep him around, given that he's liable to bite us in the back.
I think that we are his best chance of survival, and if he has any sort of survival instinct at all, it will be to throw in his lot with us.
That's true.
He was literally about to be sacrificed.
That's true.
So I think, at least for now, we put up with him.
We can't let him talk to the doppelganger.
Why do you say this?
The doppelganger is here spying for the Red Wizards.
Indeed.
I don't want the doppelganger being able to talk with Claudius and figure out what we're up to. So far we've kept the doppelganger from knowing that we're looking for the cubes.
I see.
I don't want the doppelganger figuring out, because I don't know how many of the Red Wizards know who we are and what we're doing.
I mean, I think since Claudius generally knows what we're doing.
But I don't know what Claudius told them, and I don't want to take any risks. The less people who know exactly what we're doing, the easier it's going to be to play everyone off each other.
I mean, we don't know what we're doing, so it shouldn't be that hard.
But as soon as they figure out what our goals are, it'll get a lot harder to convince them that we're working for them.
Fair enough. I don't think that separating them will be a particular problem.
I don't think so either, but just
Although,
We need
and
to
I'm
work
going
on
to
it.
sort of like peek again. It doesn't seem that it would be that difficult to get in here.
no.
But it is something to bear in mind if we decide we need to make a hasty exit.
Or if we go after Rosnisi to deal with him, that could be a useful backdoor.
Waiting until he's in the middle of coitus and then stabbing him.
I don't even know if we'll need to wait. The rune might go both ways.
I do not know.
But we'll find out.
This is a bit beyond my scope of magic.
Sploof will probably know.
Indeed. Is Sploof snoring? Sploof took watch, yes. Yeah, maybe not then. Just gonna wake him up and ask him that.
Otherwise, we're not going anywhere tonight.
Indeed.
All right. The sounds of entertainment reach their crescendo, and then this very burly.
As soon as it sounds like they're done, I want to try and, like peek out without being seen and watch how he uses,
Okay.
if he does use the room.
He actually does appear at the mouth of the little alcove that they've been using, and what you see is a large, hulking, burly man of a pureblood. You'd be hard pressed to call him out as Yuan Ti unless you knew to look for the little scaly bits around his elbows and his knees, the slightly flared nostrils, the eyes that, since you know to look for them, have slits instead of pupils. He does. You would expect him to sort of disappear back towards the alcove, and to the circle the way he came in, but he doesn't. He crosses the room and he goes down the hallway to the portcullis. Says a few sharp words in what you can only assume is, essentially parcel tongue, the snake language. You hear the portcullis being raised, and he leaves, and then it is let back down.
One way, maybe.
But to be fair, that's probably useful.
Always good to see the mimic.
And that is, that's essentially the end of the final watch.
Yay, finally.
So, I just, at the end of my watch, I want to go over to Sploof and just pinch his nose.
Yeah, good. Good.
Good morning, Sploof.
As I make babies
Day
cry.
16.
No, she's good.
And yes, so it's the next day. One more hit point gone.
Dawn of the third
And now we
day.
can use our new level stuff.
Mhm.
Finally. We've got all our abilities back.
So,
Are our hands still tied?
Yes.
No.
no, at this
No, he
point.
doesn't.
Yeah, but you do not have your gear. So remember that when computing your AC.
12.
10 plus your dex modifier.
So as the rest of your crew are sort of rousing themselves and starting to move about a little bit, you place your back against the wall for just a moment.
And the secret door opens.
No.
Dang it.
Unless,
Just one thing real quick. Did I have the same dream of the thing?
Yes.
Coming closer? Okay, just making
yes,
sure.
yes, you did.
I have a week left. On
So
the
as
wall.
your back touches the wall, you feel something out there tug at your consciousness and pull you out of your body.
Oh.
Awesome.
You find yourself floating in the middle of a vast nothingness, and it is shrouded in mist and mystery. And you feel sort of the presence of whatever it is that you are tied to. And for a moment, there's sort of this mixture of pleasure that you're in the right place and consternation that you are not free to go about and do your own thing at the moment.
So to the nothingness. I agree. Yep. Yep.
You are, as you're standing there, or sort of floating there in the middle of nothing, you get this sort of, the feeling of a decision made.
You've been replaced.
That's neat.
You find yourself being transported across the eons. And it feels as though you're not moving in space as much as you are in time. You get the sense that whatever you are connected to is taking you to events, to have you bear witness to events that have happened eons ago. You find yourself again, in a very, very dark, very confined space. And then you feel yourself being pulled as if from a sheath. And you realize that you are seeing through the eyes of your patron. As you come clear of the sheath, you find yourself in Omu at its height. Well, almost at its height. The buildings are pristine. They are not ruins. They are not in disrepair at all. But you do see smoke rising from some of them. The streets are not deserted, but the people are fleeing from you. Or not from you, from the one that wields you. And as you look up, sort of from the hand of this creature, you see a skeletal figure. Not skeletal as in nothing but bones, but very much a desiccated sort of husk of a creature that just exudes power.
Would I know that this is a lich?
Well, since you have firsthand knowledge of, yes. Yes, you do. Very much so. It is not, however, Asperus.
Okay.
But you look up and you do see, and you sort of get a sense, sort of in your mind, that your patron is in that moment trying desperately to sever the binds that tie it to this creature and hasn't yet found a way to do it. Flash forward. You're not really sure how much time. You're not even sure where you are. The landscape is like nothing you have ever seen before. Jagged, sharp peaks of obsidian against a deep purple sky. The stars, where you can see them through the smoke and the clouds, do not form constellations that you are familiar with at all. And again, you are in the hand of this creature. As he tops a rise and peers down into this vast crater. And in this crater, there is a misshapen, malformed husk of a corpse. Enormous. Bigger than anything you've ever seen alive. And you get this sense of wonder and the sense of pleasure from the being that's holding you. And he steps down into the crater to this dead but not dead thing. And then time flashes forward again. And you see this creature now ensconced in a chamber. At its bottom, a pool of magma, throwing an unearthly glow against the corpse, which you now sense is not as dead as it was in the previous vision. You see not a physical umbilical, but a magical one coming off of this creature and feeding into some kind of mechanical construct. And the creature that is holding you is, you get the sense of grim satisfaction from it. Yes, the plan is going to work. And now to put it into motion, just to wait for the right time. and then the vision fades. And you come back to yourself. And in all of that, it has been 10, maybe 15 seconds.
And then Gideon told me that. Gideon,
Yep.
are you okay?
Yep. Thinking.
You
Does
have
it
that
hurt?
look on your face like when I have gas.
It does not hurt usually.
Alright, well.
So what's the plan?
Is there a plan?
Try and see if we can find Pyre.
Now, are we on our own to do that from here?
I'm just waiting until we're.
I don't know. I'm hoping Kuhani can.
Is having our stuff with me.
Oh, well, we're gonna get our stuff as soon as we're on our way to do our job. I'm hoping Kuhani can give us sort of an introduction or like a point us in the direction of where we can find Pyre. She said maybe at the tomb.
We don't want to do this.
Although, I would assume it's probably the center of a big circle in the middle of the city.
At this point, I don't know.
But right now, I think we're sitting in this room until Kuhani fetches us.
I might be able to help if you want to leave early.
All
Well,
of us?
not all of us.
That's a problem.
Yes,
Which all or
But-
nothing.
myself and one other possibly go scouting around.
I think we should just wait.
I think we should wait for right now. And I'm gonna switch into Dwarven again, and briefly to you two, since I know you two, one of you, right, you know Goblet?
Yes,
So you can relate it to Sploof in a language the Yuan Ti probably don't understand.
or message.
And I'm just gonna be like, alright, so I'm thinking now that the players in this city know that we're here, and it seems like all of them want to get to the source of the death curse, we just sort of try and keep playing them off each other and figure out who will be the easiest to manipulate and the most likely to get us to the death curse.
But
And
isn't
we sort of help them.
Rashnishi the one who's doing the death curse? We've been told that by the Oracle.
If he is,
As far as we know,
I missed that.
The
I missed that
Oracle-
episode.
a lot of those when Pyre was around, so Clara wouldn't know.
Well, no, like Steven missed
Oh,
that
right.
episode.
So, if I remember correctly, the Oracle said that Rashnishi was the one who was doing all this stuff.
is that what the Oracle said?
I don't believe that is what the Oracle
I'm
said.
pretty sure the Oracle said that it wasn't Rosnisi, but that he was.
He was the center of it or something.
Yeah.
He was embroiled in it, certainly.
And Kuhani did imply that he is also dying, right?
She did.
Yeah.
If that's true, then he wouldn't be letting himself die if he could turn it off.
Side effect.
If he's collecting cubes, either it's because he wants to stop everyone from being able to turn the thing off, or it's because he wants to find the source as well. Either way,
We're screwed.
we're gonna have to deal with him at some point. And if Ross Nisi is trying to get to the source, and he seems like the most useful person to get us there, I say we throw in with him. We tell him about Kuhani's plot, we offer to help him out. Otherwise, for right now, we stick with Kuhani, but Clara and I sort of talked about this, and we're probably just gonna have to try and play everybody off each other for as long as we can.
If Pyre is actually working alongside Rasnisi, there's a possibility that we would have an advantage in getting our foot in the door.
That's what I'm hoping. And if nothing else, Pyre probably has somewhat of an idea of more of what's going on.
How much do you trust this Pyre?
As
I
far as
trust
I can
him
throw
to
him.
stop the death curse.
He's my best friend.
I will also remind you, my uncle is with the
He's irrational, but
Yeah. How's that gonna go if you two meet?
if we're gonna
Well, he hasn't killed me yet, so.
Are you gonna kill him on sight?
Can you kill him on sight?
I don't know. I mean, it was my destiny at one point, but
So how does that work? Do you just like get superpowers randomly when he shows up and poke out
That
and kill
would be
him?
enormously convenient. We just keep him around to do stuff.
Yeah, at that point, if we just like keep him in a box and carry him around with us, that'd be great.
that would be awesome.
Well, we
Actually-
should probably just play this by ear.
That's kind
If
of
we're on the same side as Pyre and the undead, maybe to some extent, not really, but kind of an ally.
To be fair, I don't know where the undead fit in this scenario.
Neither do I. I assume they're working
Yeah.
for Rosnisi.
But when we saw the armies, we didn't see anyone leading the undead.
We saw the other sploof, didn't we?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw the other sploof leading
It
them.
just gets really, really.
And if our sploof is a necromancer, I'm guessing fake sploof, copy sploof, is also a necromancer.
Right.
fake spoof.
Don't worry, you're the real one.
We shot a secondary.
Indeed, I was there, but the way you're acting, is this a fake spoof? Is this... What is this?
It's a not me spoof.
Fair enough.
Should I answer? Well, I guess we'll have to.
So that being said, let's try to avoid letting people know. How do I put this? Let's try and play dumb. Let's pretend we don't know as much as we do, and let's not give away what our exact goals are. It's fine to tell people we want to stop the death curse, but
Yes.
let's try and keep our real motives and how much we know a secret from everyone else. It'll make it easier to play them off each other if they don't know how much we know.
You're very naive. We got here
So
by
what he's
accident.
explaining, like, as soon as he's basically come out of his coma, I'm going to also be peeking through the curtain.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure there's not somebody, like, standing right there listening. Also, just keep an eye on what's going on.
Okay. All right. It seems to be more of sort of the same activity or lack thereof that you saw before.
Same shirt, but a different day.
Yep. You do see Nima sort of venture forth from her little alcove out to the fountain in the center, and where she seems to start to groom herself somewhat. Yep.
So, quick question. Do we want to go ahead and play off our knowledge here to see what more we can gain with that leverage? Or do we want to leave that alone for now?
Which knowledge?
The knowledge of our dear friend, head prostitute, and her guard friend, who is the bodyguard to...
Well, if
Alright,
things
everyone
go
else
bad
was
with.
asleep for this. The bodyguard magicked his way into the room last night and
Use the teleportation circle.
Interesting.
spent some time with his horse.
Well, I think we should keep that as our trump card if we're trying
Yeah,
to either play against or for Russia.
Right, my question is simply, do we want to go ahead and use that as leverage now with her to try to...
I'd say
No.
no. I don't think she'll know a whole bunch of.
She's just a prostitute.
Well, and we're in her territory.
Yeah,
That is
goal
true.
goal
That
one right
works.
now is to get Kuhani to trust us enough that she lets us sort of
Have our stuff back.
have some freedom.
Yes.
That way, if we really need to, we can try and make a run for it.
Yes.
Because right now we're stuck.
You look like you had a thought.
I did. You
Oh,
can
no.
stay there.
Go ahead.
Do
Nope,
it.
we're good.
Do it.
You sure?
I'm gonna cast detect magic in the room.
As a ritual, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the range on that?
30
feet.
30 feet.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh right, you have your spell book.
Yeah, 30 feet.
You're getting a faint. You're getting a faint aura of. What is it?
Abjuration.
Conjuration.
Conjuration magic from the alcove where the head whore has been.
I love how we all know what the school of magic is.
But that's to be expected.
Well,
'Cause they just
yet
said that, right?
now that they've mentioned a teleportation circle, yeah, that's to be expected.
But nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay.
So Sploof, there's a teleportation circle there. Do you know if those are two-way or one-way? Because he magicked his way in, but then after he finished up with her, he walked out the main door. He didn't use the circle again.
Make me an Arcana check.
Come on, Sploof.
Bardic inspiration.
What's
1d8.
1d8? Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's nice to have our stuff back.
But that's a what? Arcana?
Arcana?
Oh, but it's a +6, so yeah, it's like an 18. Yeah. 18.
Most of the permanent teleportation circles you've heard of are two-way.
Ooh, do you think you could figure out how to work one if we gave you like a couple minutes?
Work one if I had a couple minutes?
You can try.
Not now, but if we want to use it in the future. So we won't try and get you over there right now. But if we want to use it later, if you think you can figure it out, we can try and.
Like, player knowledge says if you use one of those without a point of destination in mind, bad things happen.
Yep. Very bad things happen.
We'll just have to have a destination in mind, eh? I'm gonna burn one of them in inspiration.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
I'm rolling to see if I could figure if I could. Well, I guess if I just.
You would need to have access to the circle
We'd have
itself.
to take you over to it and let you poke around with it, which is why not right now.
Yeah.
But
I'll roll a confidence check then. Evens or odds?
odds. Okay, so
I can try.
plan B.
I mean, I might be able to. I'm just a little apprehensive, but realistically, it might be one of our best options.
Sneak through that class on that day.
You've only stepped through no classes. Thank you very much, you judgmental ass.
So, can I peer down the hall to the portcullis? Are the guards who are out there, do they look like the same guards from when we were brought in?
Doesn't appear to be. So it looks like it might have changed at some point over the course of the night.
Don't be seen.
Yeah. Is our doppelganger friend still around?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to like covertly like beckon him over so that I can ask him a question.
One moment, good sir. And she closes the curtain again.
No, we're not doing this again.
We're not doing this again.
Just real quickly, do you know if the guards outside are aligned with Kuhani?
I don't.
Great.
I think it's your turn to make some noise.
Performance check, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What do I have? I've got a +3.
I got +8.
14.
That's not bad. Could be worse.
Performance is excellent.
Well, you never
Doing all well?
actually say anything, huh?
You're doing pretty well
Funny.
for yourself. So the rest of you
Just waiting.
taking advantage of, or just waiting? Okay.
Well, I mean, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing smart we can do, or yes, there's nothing smart we can do at the moment.
Okay.
Smart.
Smart.
From outside the curtains, there is a bit of a rustle of motion, sort of like activity.
I will stop.
You do hear the portcullis being raised, and it sounds as though there are a couple of guards coming in.
I'm gonna probably motion for the doppelganger to just get
Okay.
out.
They do, leaving the curtain closed behind her. You kind of hear her quietly conversing with the guards, and then a moment later, she's actually back. Good sirs and madams, I believe you are wanted for an audience with Kuhani.
Right.
Showtime.
Okay. As you guys are leaving, you do hear the sound of a single gong from the.
Scritch is here?
No.
Someone must have died in that fight, man.
So you do hear the sound of a single gong being sounded here in the
Blood altar.
in the blood altar.
chamber.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
What?
Nothing.
The ritual is beginning.
There is, as you guys are being ushered through, there is a steady stream of Yuan Ti starting to stream into this space. And there's sort of an air of expectation, an air of almost religious fervor sweeping through the crowd, and it's building to a fever pitch as more and more of them come in.
Keith, quick question.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice on the map.
Yes.
In the very top.
Yes.
Center.
Yes.
Is that alcove in a position where we could see it?
No. It's raised.
That's what I.
That's an elevated platform, so no, you can't actually see that one. Which is why I didn't point it out, because several of you have been through this room before.
I kind of cling to Clara's leg a little bit because I get uncomfortable around all this religious malarkey.
Okay.
I'm comfortable
That's
with
fair.
cat Jesus now.
With Yuan Ti, I think everyone gets a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
With it.
Well, in the last experience, the sploop had of the gods was giant caterpillars.
Yes, centipedes everywhere.
It's not caterpillars, yeah.
Caterpillars are
Oh
kind
no, he's rolling dice.
Okay. Everybody roll me a stealth check. If you are proficient with stealth, you have advantage.
Yay. I'm pretty good.
That's not bad.
I'm not
16?
16?
17.
17?
23.
23?
21.
21?
Took a level of rogue, I don't remember.
Did you take a level of rogue?
Yep.
He has a level of rogue.
Because of this.
26.
26?
Do not. 14.
14. Okay.
Apparently not because of this.
You all succeed. You're able to sort of disappear into the crowd as a very familiar sound, Clara and Gideon. There's the crackle of sort of static discharge and the ripping of reality and having it reform, and Kuhani and the figure of another Yuan Ti appear beside her up on the upper platform.
Does this
Where are
other
you guys-
Yuan Ti look like he is slowly wasting away as if he were dying from some sort of
What
curse
platform are you guys
involving
talking
death?
about?
Why, yes. Yes, he does.
What platform are you guys talking about?
Center
The center above the blood.
above the
Right here.
Oh, just the
Yeah.
circle thing? Okay.
Yeah, right up there.
Okay.
Is that what?
Yep.
I get acquired.
And there is, so do any of you, maybe you, do you know Abyssal?
I know Abyssal.
I do.
You do not.
The two? Okay, so
Yes! Hey, I'm a demon hunter. What do you expect?
so for for the two of you, as you are being sort of led through the press of bodies that have crowded in, the two of you hear this deep guttural voice echoing from the upper platform, and it's Raznisi. For the glory of Dindar, for the glory of the Night Serpent, come, my children, partake. Everybody make me a perception check real quick.
18.
That's actually quite good.
12,
6.
6,
3.
23,
15.
15? Okay. So you and you and you notice that the air is starting to fill with sort of a smoke, incense of some kind. It's emanating from somewhere. You're not real sure where. And everything's, for all of you, everything's starting to get a little bit stroby, and you're starting to feel the effects of something in the air.
No.
Do we see any giant snakes?
Well, I mean, you're amongst Yuan Ti, so there are
But
snakes everywhere.
Giant snakes, specifically.
What are you asking giant snakes for? You know exactly what he's talking about.
Yuan Ti.
No!
Giant, huge constrictor snakes.
Like the one you guys met?
One that, not me, but
The one you guys met?
yeah, the one that they met.
Yeah, I'm confused, but okay.
Oh, the sentient snake.
Yes.
No, you're not seeing that one.
Dang it. That would be convenient.
Yeah.
You're conveniently leaving our stuff unguarded?
Huzzah!
Oh,
All right, I will have all of you roll me a Constitution save.
As soon as I realize,
Is
as
it
soon as
poison?
I notice that, I am gonna pull my shirt up over my mouth to try and
Is it poison?
filter it.
Um,
On save?
it is a Constitution save.
Yes, it is a poison.
It's we will treat it as such.
Advantage for the dwarves.
And since you thought to,
Oh, not good for this dwarf.
since you thought to pull it up, have advantage as well.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. 17.
7.
7.
With advantage? I had rolled a 3 and a 5.
Ooh.
what? So I just rolled for Natalie.
Oh.
So Clara rolled a 16.
Okay.
Nyx rolled a
2 plus whatever she has.
Ooh.
4.
No.
Okay.
Oh. Poor Nyx.
Oh, sorry, 15 for me.
15. Oh, 15. Okay. So Clara, Nyx, Eliash, what were 17?
Unnatural 20.
Anna? Okay. So for the three of you guys, your feet start to get a little heavy, and you start to get, you had a good night's sleep, but it wasn't enough, and you really could use a little bit more of a nap, and every fiber of your being, the three of you fall asleep and pass out.
I would like to catch the nearest person to me who starts to fall.
Okay.
I'm gonna
You'll-
try and
you'll catch
her
Nyx.
'cause she's attached to me right now.
Which one?
Clara.
Clara? Okay, so you're going to try and catch Clara.
I'm catching Nyx.
I'll try Elias.
Okay. So
No.
yours is going to be an auto success because Nyx. Make me a
Quite the opposite for you,
Ma-
however.
Attached to her.
make
Like I was clinging
Yes.
to her.
make
neck.
an athletics check at disadvantage.
Or just spend an inspiration to make it a straight roll. Or not.
10. Could have been worse. Oh, disadvantage.
And
No.
Disadvantage.
uh,
Sorry, I said-
I'll just take an
she
athletics
said-
check from
Do
you.
you still have an inspiration?
I tried telling her that.
Yeah. Guess I can go ahead and do that.
Reroll.
16.
16? Okay. So you're able to catch Elias
Once.
under the arms pretty well.
One dice. One dice.
8.
It's better.
Well, it's not better than the 10.
No, that wasn't what she actually got. She got the 2.
Oh,
She
okay.
thought she had to roll. She
Right,
had
okay.
advantage, but-
Okay, so with an 8, you're going to be able to cushion the blow a little bit, but yeah, you're not catching. It's more like you're throwing yourself under her as she falls.
So can we, like, if I sort of like shake Nyx and try and wake Nyx up, does Nyx wake? No.
No.
Her unit armor is not that heavy, but
But I'm spoof.
Elias,
Mm,
you have your dream again.
okay. Is it different?
It is not any different except that the vision in your brain is getting closer and closer and closer. And in this case, you actually see him holding a very familiar weapon in his hand.
At what distance are we looking at?
At this point, he's gotten to about 50 feet from you.
Okay.
Sploof, I'll trade you. You take Nyx, I'll take Clara. And I'm
So,
gonna do like one arm over, pick up like, oh,
Okay.
I'm helping my drunk friend out of the club
Okay.
type of a.
Nick, Nix, you fell asleep
Okay.
and are being racked by the by visions of your spider on a rack, having each one of his legs pulled out one at a time, and you're standing there running, trying to get there to stop it, and you're just not fast enough to get there, and the harder you try to run, the further away you get.
Ugh. Okay, that's awful.
It's like shucking a
you should see
Crap.
the face you just got.
I'm sure.
Clara.
It's sort of like-
You're sitting in your therapy room, the treatment room from before, and you remember the moment well when the person you were trying to help stepped into the room and let loose every bit of magic that he possibly could. And you're there and you feel the magical energies and you feel the broken masonry and the shattered glass and the walls crumbling. You feel the viscera of your other patients splattering you. You feel the viscera of the one particular patient coating you head to toe in blood. And it's on repeat. And it keeps repeating. And everything you try, everything you do, everything you say results in the same result.
It's like that scene from Batman vs Superman where Superman's in the Congress and it's on fire.
For the rest of you carrying your compatriots out, the fever pitch, the fervor of the orgy that's kicking off around you is just reaching like another level entirely. Kuhani steps up and says something that you can't really hear over the
Right, 'cause all
roar.
of our abyssal people
Yeah.
are asleep.
Well, even that, even if you could make out the words, or even if you could understand them,
Volume's too loud.
you can't make out the words for the crowd. The crowd is just, I mean, imagine being at a football stadium during a game. It is just, the din is deafening. And just when you thought it couldn't get any louder, it does. It steps up. And through gaps in the crowd, you see a prisoner being led out into the center of the room.
red robes?
It's not red robes, but it is familiar.
Who is it?
It's Carol Ann.
Okay. Well, this ought to be
You're
good.
unconscious.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm unconscious.
Nobody
Save her?
touched him.
Not sure. We are horribly outnumbered right now.
Oh shit.
Well,
But he's not smart.
Keith,
Yes.
evens or odds?
wait, are they like passing through the crowd?
From what you can tell, that she seems to be being led to the center of the room.
Evens or odds?
Elias, evens or
I'm
odds?
not saying. He asked you, DM.
Odds.
What would you like Gideon to do?
What would you do?
It's just an NPC.
We can't tell what they're saying.
Nope.
How many guards?
She's only got a couple of guards on her.
Is she like bound? What like?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it
How far away?
seems like she's being pulled very much against her will towards the center.
How far away from us?
Through the crowd, it's probably about 15 to 20 feet.
Oh,
I
this
can
is-
message.
Ugh.
I can
Crap.
Message him.
I can message you.
If you're gonna do it, do it fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, just if you're
And,
gonna, if you would do it.
It's
do
like
it.
I can get close enough to teleport her out about 500 feet from here.
Do it. And let me know.
It
as
has
soon
to be
as you-
someplace you can see, doesn't it?
Nope.
So
Or no.
or visualize.
Ah, okay.
And it's somewhere he's been.
Let me
Yes.
know as soon as you've got her, and I'll give you some cover.
Okay, I can also make her invisible.
Well,
Get her out.
How
crap.
many of us are unconscious?
Half of
Me,
us.
you, and Clara.
Alright,
Bright's not.
Well,
Yeah.
she's in and out.
You realize
Yes, she is.
you're all the replacement sacrifices.
Maybe.
You're unconscious. You
Do
can't
it.
say anything.
Do it.
okay. I'm going to make my way to get within 5 feet of her.
Make me a stealth check.
I am going to summon as quietly as I can and as unobtrusively as I can.
Oh,
I want
nice.
to summon my sword, but as like a small, something that's not going to be super obvious because I need it for what I'm about to do.
Yes, but with the sword.
But I want it to be something that I can
So
sort of
got your
keep
spell
it
book. Just light the mother effers on fire.
We're gonna come back to that.
Mother effers.
21.
Cool. Well done.
21?
21.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, so you're able to get over to her. You sort of reach out and touch her,
So
and she looks up at you. Her eyes go wide, and it looks like she's about to say something.
and then poof.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
So
You should have
Where-
let her said something first.
Where are you going?
Yes. Where do you
okay, so
I'm so sorry.
To the Hydra.
alright, so I am going to get her like into the hallway, like away from the crowd, from where we came in.
Okay, so you guys came in from the harem.
We're going in
Okay.
deeper if you do that.
Where are you headed? So the places you've seen, the places you've been, the slave sort of pits,
Kalani's room.
Kuhani's room,
Constrictor snake.
the yes.
Yeah, that could be bad because they can sense heat. So, but I'm saying the constrictor snake could.
Gear.
Yeah.
And you're
No,
going
we don't
with
have
her,
weapons
so-
there. Our weapons aren't there. It's just our gear.
That's true.
It's too.
True.
Just take her to Kalani's room.
Okay.
This is so bad.
I know. Okay, we're gonna go to Kahani's room.
All
But
right.
because you're unconscious.
And then when
Okay.
we get there, I'm going to cast invisibility on her. I'm going to tell her, you have 1 hour invisibility, make it count.
Okay. Roll me a persuasion check.
What are you persuading?
My patron to
Oh.
be not a longsword.
Say anything back to him?
We'll come back to that.
You were holding me. What are you doing with me?
I hold well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got to take Elias too, so I've got both of you, and I'm sort of dragging you. This
Wait,
is why
who's got me?
Sloof.
I traded because Clara.
17?
17? All right. There is no resistance. So what form are you wanting?
A short sword. Something that I can, like, that's not super obvious, but would still be useful in a fight.
Okay.
And as soon as he starts to teleport, I'm going to cast darkness centered on where they were.
Okay.
So a 20-foot radius globe of darkness appears.
Okay. All right. The crowd erupts
Yep.
from the raised area, the raised balcony area. You catch a glimpse of Kuhani reaching out, grabbing Rosnisi, and making a break for the teleporter.
Okay.
You do hear the discharge, and you see them poof out. You don't know where they're headed.
Oh, right, because I,
The crowd starts to scatter.
we scatter with them.
It does look like. Roll me a perception check. You and Sploof. Yeah, you and Sploof. Roll me a perception check.
Are we all in the darkness?
Yes, actually.
To start with.
At least to start with.
Okay.
So
yeah, I am the only one who can see. The
and
rest
never.
of you
So
can't
so
see.
you actually can't. Doesn't matter.
Unless you
So suddenly the room goes black.
Magical darkness, right?
Magical darkness. Magical darkness. And you start to hear the sounds of a panicked crowd and start getting jostled, and by you're getting jostled, and there's large snakes rolling over your feet, and hands that are sort of slapping you as they go past.
So as I'm dragging these other two bodies, I'm gonna come next to Sploof and try and get Sploof to follow me. That was a 22 perception.
22 perception. Okay. You do see that the guards that were, or at least one of the guards that was escorting you guys, seems to be heading for the gong that is up the ramp directly across from where you came out of the harem.
How far away is he from me?
He is going to be about 30 feet.
Eldritch Blast.
kill him in one
No.
go.
We're in the darkness. How far is he from the gong?
He's not there yet, but he will be there next round.
Or take out the gong.
I can't see.
I'm gonna look over my spells real fast.
Precious, precious 2 spells.
Yeah.
He's already used
I just
one of
used
them.
one.
So you have one left. Do you want to use it?
Okay, quick question. How far are we, or how hard would it be to get to the door that leads to where our gear is?
We would have to get past 2 basilisks and a T-Rex. It's up past the gong, and then
Not
down that
T-Rex,
hallway.
it was a Tyrannosaurus.
No,
Oh, no,
it was
sorry,
a Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
Other T.
Oh, right.
Were there like any cages on it?
It wasn't
Yeah.
that.
I tell you what, make me a cartographer's check.
What attribute or ability?
Intelligence.
You sure you want it to be that?
Wouldn't it be wisdom?
Absolutely sure it's not wisdom, or is anything but that.
Wisdom equals
Anything
survival.
but your dumb.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's make it your wisdom.
Okay.
Because
I like that plan
you haven't
much better.
actually seen the map, you're just trying to use your cartographer's brain to piece stuff together that you have seen.
11.
11? Yeah. You know it's off to the south somewhere? You seem to recall maybe there was a door out of this room that direction? Actually, you can see that there is a door out of the room that direction.
We're going for it.
Okay.
I'm taking the rest of my party with me, and we are going for that door.
Yeah, all right. All right. So as you go,
And I'm no.
yeah. So you're carrying two people, so you're moving about half speed. Unfortunately, Sploof, you're carrying Nyx, so you're still able to keep up with. The problem is, how do you know to keep up with Gideon?
I'm gonna have Sploof grab onto one of the bodies I'm carrying,
Okay.
so that I'm basically like towing everyone along with me.
Okay. You've taken a couple of steps when you hear the gong sound. Gong! Gong!
Uh-oh.
Gong! They are sounding the alarm.
Yep.
And that is where we will leave things for tonight.
You're screwed.
So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We know this is sort of a weird weekend with the Comcast blackout. If you're watching this, you're watching it either as a Twitch upload after the fact, or you're watching it as a YouTube upload. Either way, hopefully you found this. Hopefully you enjoy our little adventure here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for bearing with us through the technological mishaps. And we look forward to seeing you all at our regular time next week. And hopefully we'll actually see you at our regular time next week. Until then, just reminders about the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, you already know about it. If you're watching us on Twitch, just do a search for us, Casual Cactus. That is casual with a C, cactus with a K. And you can find all of our back episodes on there. We do also have our Happy Little Dungeon on Discord. Normally I would show you the link in the Twitch chat, but that is that's not a thing for us this week. Hopefully those of you who are interested in that either already have it, already know about it, or will come back and see us next week where you can get that link. We have all of the information for this stream, as well as Kyrie's and Danny's, and any of the others that start their streaming as well. And we also have an in-character section for any of your role-playing characters from any session that can interact with any others that we might throw in as well. Hope to see you very soon next week. And until then, just remember, if you have a hammer, and all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a glass house. Good night, everybody.
Doesn't have to be a hammer.